Hi everyone, it's Miss Champagne. Okay, let us continue from my book, Teaching Private Lessons in Japan. And today we're going to start with chapter 6, which is called Students to Reconsider. All right, now in this chapter, I really break it down in detail about the experience that I've had with teaching certain students. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't teach these students. It's just I want you to think about if you teach these students, what your outcome may be. Anyways, let us continue. Okay, so in my book, I talk about teaching adult Chinese students. Now, as you know, or you may not know, not only do I teach one-on-one lessons, I teach one-on-many, and I also teach online to Chinese children, and I'm very successful in teaching online to Chinese children. However, I have not been successful with teaching Chinese adults. So, and when I did have Chinese adult students, I found those two, and I'm speaking very specifically, those two to be very flaky upfront. So that doesn't mean that all Chinese students are that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you might want to consider or reconsider teaching Chinese students, just to make sure, once again, that you have the income you need from that student. This process is about becoming financially independent, which means you need students you can count on. Okay, now if you guys can give me some details about how to teach Chinese adult students and recruit them and maintain them, then please share that with me, because like I said, I have not been successful. Okay, the next students would be the Korean adult students. Now I've had, I believe I've had one Korean adult student, and this is very specific towards her. Now, although she was very nice, I found her to also be very flaky. And another thing that I've noticed with Koreans in Japan, and I'm speaking very specifically because I taught at a school that also had Korean teachers, they would go home very often because Korea is just like a 2-hour flight. So they would go home to visit their family, and that's great. I would probably do the same thing. But in terms of teaching, you need students who are here because you need to have a steady income. So that's why I'm saying maybe you might want to reconsider teaching Korean adults, or you might just need to ask them, listen, how often are you going to go home so I can know if I'm able to teach you or not? Okay. Now, moving on, Korean teenagers. Now, I've taught 2 Korean teenagers as private students. They were excellent. I absolutely love teaching them. The only problem is that with Korean moms, I love Korean moms. Korean moms are hardcore when it comes to education. So my Korean moms actually make their kids go to Juku, which is cram school. So after about, let's say, 8 months to a year, they weren't able to take my class anymore. Which is, I was happy for them because I always want my students to take other classes, but I was kind of sad because I missed them and I wasn't able to get that income. So just know, if you're going to teach a Korean child, they're super energetic, they're super motivated to learn English. Their English level is actually higher than their Japanese counterparts. But at some time, their parents are going to put them in another cram school. And if you understand the Korean education system in their own country, then you will understand why they study more than Japanese students even do. All right, next would be entitled Japanese mothers. Now, I talk about this in detail in the book, and I gave an example. Now, when I say entitled, what I mean is a mother, and this doesn't even have to be a Japanese mother because I've also taught Russian students as well, and that mother was also entitled. I feel that Japan kind of gives, like in this industry, it kind of gives like the mothers an entitlement. And I could speak about a whole, I might do that on my radio show to really get into it. I don't want to do it right now. But you have to be aware of entitled Japanese mothers. Now, for example, I used to teach in Tokorozawa, which is in Saitama, which is like an hour and a half from Tokyo. And I had been teaching these kids for three years. And the mother had changed the schedule a couple of times. And then she wanted me to come like at 7:30. And I'm like, listen, it takes 3 hours to get there in total. And then I'm teaching your kids for 2.5 hours. I have to come back home. I have another job to do. So it was that. And another thing is that she didn't want me to teach the kids for 50 minutes. She wanted me to teach them for 40 minutes. And I told her, that's fine, but I'm still going to have to charge you the same price because I'm still traveling 2.5 hours. Or no, what did I say? No, 3 hours. Yeah, because it took 2.5 to 1.5 to get there. Yeah, it took me 3 hours round trip to get there. So I can't keep coming for 3 hours and getting paid less for the same travel. So yeah, I've had my run-in with entitled mothers. Now I can tell if a mother is entitled up front, and I'll just tell her that, I'm not available. But thank you, we can maybe have classes some other time. Okay, so these are some students you might want to consider. Now, reconsider. Now, this doesn't mean don't teach them. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just wanting you to think about how reliable these students are. Remember, this is your income we're talking about, okay? Now, if you have any questions, please contact me. Any comments as well. Thank you.